This portion of the Oneida presentation is on government and education. We will begin by looking at the tribal government and how it began. In 1838, a treaty was established for the Oneida Reservation in Wisconsin. They were given 65,400 acres, more or less, and it was given to the Oneida tribe. In 1887, as we've read previously, the Allotment Act was passed, which split all the reservation into allotments for individual members living in the reservation. Land was kept in trust for 25 years, but as soon as allottees died, the United States made many of the allotment taxable, and it ended up being sold. In 1910, the Oneida Land Company was created, which helped purchase huge tracts of land within the reservation from people who couldn't afford to pay their taxes. Ultimately, it helped create a stable economic base and helped people survive on the reservation. In 1917, the end of the 25-year trust period for allotments was over, although most of the land at this time had already been moved to non-Indians' hands, and so the land that the Oneida had left was very small. In 1934, the Indian Reorganization Act was passed, and it allowed the Oneida people to reform its government under the Indian Reorganization Act government. And it's still their current form of government. They established the Executive Committee, which was later changed to the Business Committee, and it's the legislative body of the Oneida tribe. As a result of this, a variety of other laws and committees were formed, such as in 1941, the Oneida Land Committee was formed, and basically it helped get land back for many of the tribal members. And by the beginning of 2000, the Oneida tribe owned about 11,000 acres, so about 17% of the reservation that they once had. The General Tribal Council, it consists of 75 Oneida members, and they're all qualified to vote, and they include the chair, the vice president, the secretary, the treasurer, and other members. They meet twice a year, the first Monday in January and the first Monday in July. A third meeting is also held each year to adopt the Oneida tribe's annual budget. And this happens by two ways. One can be a petition that's signed by 50 or more Oneida members that have to be 21 years or older, or if the tribal chair calls a special meeting. Another part of the tribal government is the Oneida tribal judicial system. In this photo, you can see the 5 members of the 2009 Judicial System Committee. And the purpose of the judicial system is to provide a clear separation of powers within the legislative branch, similarly to our government, and it consists of procedures of law and rulemaking and due process for membership. In addition, the Administrative Procedures Act requires that the Oneida tribe provide a forum for appeals of administrative errors and contested issues that ensure fairness and notice to its membership. Another part of the tribal government is many of the boards, committees, and commissions, and they're selected for policy to help with various elections, environment, land, schooling, and all of the members are elected by the General Tribal Council or voted upon, and they can be appointed based on the business committee and what they decide. So on the current slide, you can see a variety of committees, boards, and commissions they have. On the left side, they are committees that you can be elected to. And on the right side, they are committees that you have to be appointed to. Finally, the big part of the Oneida tribal government is the business committee. It's composed of 9 members, and it meets bi-monthly with its decisions made by majority rule. It has the chairperson, the vice president, or the vice chairperson, the secretary, the treasurer, and 5 council members. Elections are held every 3 years with primary and post-primary elections newly added, beginning in 2011. The role of the business committee was originally the executive committee, so this is the initial tribal government that was formed back in 1941. They just now call it the business committee. So basically these 9 members meet every other month to make decisions, and then it goes to the larger whole of a community, which is the tribal committee, and that's where other decisions are the General Tribal Council, which is, like I said, the whole community of 75 people, and that's where they make bigger decisions and discuss the ones that the executive business committee is talking about. Now we will move on to the education of the Oneida people. As we read previously about different education experiences for Native American Indians, the Oneida experienced similar education experiences of going to boarding schools, lack of education in culture and language, and were forced to assimilate to the European American culture and to Christianity. Most Oneida children went to either the Christian boarding school or the government boarding school on the reservation. Other children went away to schools in Pennsylvania or Virginia, but both the church schools and the government schools only allowed students to speak English. So they discouraged any expression of the Oneida language and culture. Currently, the Oneida tribe is educated in primarily 5 school districts. They're listed below. There's Samar Community Schools, West Des Peres School District, Freedom School District, Green Bay Area School District, and Pulaski School District. There's also 2 tribal schools, the Oneida Nation Elementary School and the Oneida Nation High School. The Oneida Nation does offer early childhood, Head Start, high school, and higher education opportunities to its tribal members. And as far as the 2 tribal schools go, the elementary school is K through 8, and the high school is 9 through 12, and both schools are accredited. They receive some funds from the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs, but they have no state equalization aid or charter school funds. Right here is an interesting picture that I found. It talks about the, it's in the shape of a turtle, which one of the Oneida cultural beliefs is placed highly in the living harmony of living things and Mother Earth. So one of their big cultural beliefs is the story of the turtle, which is how they believe that Earth was created. And so this is actually one of the schools that they built. Currently, in present day Oneida schools, they offer a full curriculum that works with regular school programs, but also like incorporates the Oneida culture. They participate in the 3 R's along with classes on their language, their music, and other traditional elements. You do have to be a quarter Native American ancestry to go to a tribal school on the Oneida Reservation, although you do not have to be an Oneida member. Like I said previously, a lot of their education foundation comes from their cultural beliefs. They want their children to recognize their self-worth. They want them to be able to respect everybody. They want them to be able to respect and understand their culture and their language. The schools are continuing to revitalize the Oneida language and culture by using Oneida ideas and materials throughout the school buildings. They also have an atmosphere that's based off of the Iroquois Confederacy, which basically is similar to our U.S. Constitution. And so the ideas that our Constitution holds about education and learning, the Oneida believe in the same thing. So basically, in the end, they want their children to be aware of their generations and be able to fulfill leadership roles and responsibility for the future. And that is the end of my presentation on government and education.